We shall now go on to our next speaker, Dr. Padma Malini Mahendradas. She heads the uveitis and ocular immunology services at Narayan Nethralaya, Bangalore, and is a member of number of international uveitis groups and also national groups. And she is going to be talking on uveitis and pregnancy. On to you.
Good evening to all of you. At the outset, I'd like to thank Dr. Chitra Ramamurthy and ARC team for inviting me here today to speak on uveitis and pregnancy. Next 8 minutes also, I'll be covering about introduction about the uveitic entities in pregnancy, what are the physiological changes happens and immunological changes predisposed to uveitis, what are the challenges we come across in the management, sharing a case examples with take-home points. The uveitis and pregnancy management is a real challenge. Only few studies are available in the literature. The first trimester and postpartum period may be associated with exacerbation of uveitis. Most drugs are excluded from use in pregnancy, not because of the teratogenic effect, but because of the lack of available evidence of the safety for the fetus. The physiological changes normally happens in pregnancy, and also associated ocular changes and immunological changes are predisposed to uveitis. This is a diagram showing the systemic changes, what happens in pregnancy. The important ones are what we face difficulties in the management is abnormal liver enzymes can complicate the use of systemic immunosuppressive therapy in pregnancy-associated uveitic entities and hormonal changes. Increased cortisol secretions by the adrenal glands also can complicate with the management. This is a most important slide to help us to understand the basic pathophysiology. Whenever we have either pathogens, antigens, or self-allergens, comes to the maternal immune system, and it passes on to the feto-placental tissue, resulted in various alterations in the inflammatory mediators. This graph shows increased PREX and TREX in pregnancy, whereas it is lower, results in upregulation of the Th2 response, whereas the other B cells are downregulated, resulting in Th1 response, downregulated. These things results in increased anti-inflammatory factors associated with the decreased pro-inflammatory factors in inflammation. So here again, the Th2 cells are upregulated, whereas Th1 cells are downregulated, which results in successful outcome in pregnancy, and there is decreased susceptibility to inflammatory diseases and increased susceptibility to infectious diseases. What are the challenges we come across? We have diagnostic where we can't use X-ray and other imaging modalities. The next is what are the therapeutic implications? We have difficulty in using selected antibiotics, corticosteroids, or immunosuppressive agents in pregnancy. What are the drugs we commonly use in controlling the inflammation? Glucocorticoids are commonly used. The lower doses are safe. The higher doses in the first trimester can have association developmental oral clefts. Among the immunosuppressives, azathioprine we are using. We have to watch out for the leukopenia and thrombocytopenia the neonates can develop. Cyclosporine are also we are using. So this is a busy slide showing what are the drugs under different categories. Methotrexate is contraindicated. The commonly used immunosuppressives falls under D category. The cyclosporine is a C category, and corticosteroids under a B category.
And you have 1 minute remaining.
This is the case of a 31 years female diagnosed have retinitis with vasculitis. On investigations, avidity test was low, indicative of a recent toxoplasmic infection. This patient was put on spiramycin. However, the retinitis was not resolving. We have added intravitreal clindamycin with dexamethasone, which resulted in resolution of infections and inflammation in this case. During pregnancy, the toxoplasma can pass through the placenta. The first trimester is associated with lower rate of fetal transmission. There are certain common questions which we need to answer in toxoplasmosis. If maternal infection is confirmed, the fetus is not yet infected, then spiramycin is safe to prevent fetal prophylaxis. If the fetus is infected, then we have to treat with regular combination of antitoxoplasmic treatment. In this, pyrimethamine to be avoided in the first trimester, and sulfa drugs avoided in the third trimester due to the presence of development of kernicterus. If the antitoxoplasma treatment in an immunocompetent pregnant woman with the previous infection of toxoplasma, not necessary. If a non-pregnant woman who diagnosed of acute toxoplasmic infection should be counseled to wait for 6 months before she attempts to become pregnant. These are the common situations we face with toxoplasmosis. Here is a case of an APM PPE in a 9-month pregnant female. We decided to observe because of his APM PPE. However, for the fetal lung maturity, dexamethasone IM was given, which resulted in complete resolution of inflammation in this lady. The next is a case of a sarcoidosis who had diffuse perivascular leak, systemic steroids, azathioprine was put. Then there was a remission was obtained during pregnancy. However, the liver enzymes was elevated. We decreased the dose of azathioprine. Finally, she delivered a healthy baby. The next is a case of a SLE. As we know, because of SLE and Behçet's disease can get aggravated during pregnancy. Here, SLE is showing diffuse perivascular leak. Here again, the patient was put on cyclosporin and azathioprine and painful pregnancy. Here is a case of a post-fever retinitis secondary to chikungunya infection. There was a spontaneous resolution was noted in this lady. The next comes the COVID and the pregnancy. Here is an 8-month-old pregnant lady presented with flow test. She had pruritic skin lesions. On investigations were not contributory. She had subsequently, she delivered, had a fever, urinary tract infection. She was treated for the same. At the time of presentation, postpartum, she had a mobile hypopia, suspected to be endogenous endophthalmitis or query Behçet's because of mobile hypopia. She was investigated. Treated with appropriate intraocular and systemic antibiotics. When she investigated actually B5 was also positive. FFA showed only the neovascularization. There was no perivascular leak. She was treated with laser photocoagulation. Again, on repeat investigation, SARS-CoV-2 was positive. With increased D-dimer, she was put on aspirin. Finally, there was a resolution of a hemorrhage in this case. To conclude, the influence of pregnancy on the course of uveitis is very variable. We need to individualize the treatment. The general consensus is that uveitis improves during pregnancy, especially from the mid-pregnancy onwards, while the postpartum period is associated with uveitic activity relapse. Clinicians may consider decreasing uveitic medications during the pregnancy, as we seen in this azathioprine use in sarcoidosis case. So we minimize the side effects on the fetus. After delivery, follow-up should be intensified in the anticipation of postpartum relapse of uveitis. Immunosuppressive therapy during pregnancy did not significantly impair immunity in exposed children. He safely used azathioprine, cyclosporin, and low dose of systemic steroids in our patients with immune-mediated uveitis. I would like to acknowledge my colleagues for the contribution. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Doctor. That was a wonderful talk. And Dr. Biswas, would you want to add something? It's not there.
The methotrexate is a big no in case of pregnancy. And as much as possible, that local injections like intravitreal injections or posterior subteral injection can be given. Azathioprine is a little safe, but the data is variable, and I don't give the azathioprine also. I give the patients intravitreal injections.
Dr. Srinivas?
I also give only intravitreal injection or periocular injection. In spite of the fact literature says azathioprine is safe, I don't give azathioprine. I manage with intravitreal.
Madam, very, very nice talk as always, Padma Malini Madam. I just wanted to ask you, like, as you said, this SLE and the Behçet's, they usually get exacerbated. There is an upregulation, and the TH1 usually gets downregulated in the second or the third trimester. But post-pregnancy, after 2 months, it's known to cause the exacerbation of all kinds of uveitis. So should we start on any palliative kind of thing post-pregnancy, when we know that most of these cases who had the exacerbation of the uveitis during pregnancy and when it is known to increased post-pregnancy?
So we'll keep out the close watch on this patient. If they have inflammation, is restricted only to the eye. We give a periocular or intravitreal steroid injection or implant. If the systemic disease activity is also there, then we combine with systemic immunosuppressive therapy, either increasing the dose or adding the additional immunosuppressive drugs.
I think that answers it. So we shall now go. Thanks a